good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don back in here with you as promised. It's 10:02 Central on your New Year's Day evening here on Dr. Don's Weather. And we're going to kind of give you an update on where we're at now and where we think we're going to go as far as severe weather is concerned. I may have a little good news for you, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. And if you look there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, you can see the current tornado watch that's in effect, which covers portions of northwest Georgia all the way across northeast Alabama, and then back down into central Alabama, west central Alabama, and into central Mississippi. The National Weather Service office over Jackson, Mississippi has just recently trimmed off some of those counties in Mississippi from the tornado watch because that main line of thunderstorm activity has now cleared northern Mississippi. And the good thing that I have to report to you is we have not seen any strong, long-lived tornadoes over in Mississippi this evening since this entire thing began this afternoon. We have seen some tornado warnings up in Tennessee, south of Nashville. We've seen several tornado warnings in extreme north Alabama. We had one within the last hour there in northeast Alabama over into northwest Georgia. Checking with Georgia officials with that particular cell, we've seen reports of a few trees down, but no destruction, no major issues up there. All of that is good news. I'm just looking at some information that's just come in from the Weather Service. Let's see. A new tornado watch is coming out in a few moments. This watch will run from Chambers to Tallapoosa to Elmore to Autauga to Dallas, Marengo, and Northwest. So I think we are about to get a tornado watch for East Alabama. Let me scan that one more time. Chambers. Okay, so what the Weather Service is telling us is they just gave us a heads up in the National Weather Service chat room that the Storm Prediction Center is about to issue a new tornado watch, and that watch is going to be from Chambers to Tallapoosa over to about Coosa and Chilton in our coverage area, and to the northwest. So I'm thinking that's probably going to include Chambers, Tallapoosa, Coosa, probably Randolph, Clay, Talladega, up there around Calhoun and Cleburne. It will most likely get into west central Georgia as well. I'm monitoring Birmingham at the moment because the weather is yet to move through Alabama, and then we'll see what Atlanta says about that in just a few minutes. But if I had to guess, this new watch is going to cover all of East Alabama. Probably won't get Lee County. That may be the only county. Lee and Harris may be the only two counties in Alabama and Georgia in our coverage area that doesn't get placed under this tornado watch. But we'll see. It should hit us at any moment now. All this stuff is animated, and there it goes. So it'll pop up on the screen here in just a moment. And what you're looking at there on the right-hand side is the National Weather Service graphic, so it hasn't popped there either. As soon as it does, it'll show up automatically. So anyway, tornado watch coming for East Alabama, probably West Georgia as well. Yes, Oxford will probably be involved in it also. We'll see. We'll just kind of watch this thing together. But you can see, looking at the radar, we're just not seeing a tremendous amount of severe weather out there. We certainly did not get those supercell storms out ahead of the front like we thought we might. So that's good news. So I'm thinking now the only thing we're really going to have to be on our P's and Q's for is going to be the actual line itself. And that actual cold front is still back over in Mississippi. We can get the telestrator on here. I'll show you right where that's at. And this is not going to be pretty because I'm doing it with a mouse. But this is the main line that we are going to be watching over the course of the next several hours as it moves off to the east and northeast. Well, that arrow's not too bad. That's it. There's your main cold front, and that will continue moving off to the east. We see an area of heavy activity up here just north of Columbus, Mississippi. Then another one down here, still back in Louisiana, that looks suspicious. But in between, there's not a whole lot happening out there right now. Now, here's the thinking, though. As this line gets into Alabama, where we had some sunshine earlier today, this line of storms may intensify some as it gets into this atmosphere across Alabama and Georgia that saw a lot of sunshine this afternoon. So that's what we're going to be watching for over the next couple of 2 or 3 hours as to whether or not this line of thunderstorms can actually get some good convection going over there. We did have some warm air aloft, and we had some capping taking place where the thunderstorms earlier today just couldn't get much above 20,000 feet in height. That cap has since broke, and that warm air aloft is eroding. So situation's kind of setting up here for things to increase in intensity as we go into the next several hours. And so we're going to be watching to see if that actually takes place as these storms move on off to the east this evening. Yeah, they're trying to get the graphics straightened out now. I have zero control over that, but it will pop up here in just a few minutes. There comes the warning, or the watch, I think. I should get the text on it here in just a few seconds. Okay. All right. So we are waiting for that to populate. So bottom line here, I know a lot of you are about to go to bed for the night, and you're wanting to know what the weather is going to be as you sleep during the overnight hours. And the best information I can give you is to make sure you've got some way of receiving severe weather information during the overnight hours. Make sure that you have a good app on your phone. Make sure that if you have a NOAA weather radio, make sure it's turned on. Make sure you have batteries in it. If you don't have a weather radio, and if you don't have much faith in your phone waking you up during the night, then you just might want to get up every now and then and check with the weather and see what's happening out there. We're going to be on with you, and as soon as we get into a situation where I think it is valid, then I will stay live with you, and we will do wall-to-wall coverage. There's your new tornado watch that has just been issued by the Storm Prediction Center, and you can see that it covers the areas I told you about. I expected this to be, and here we are. So this new tornado watch... See if I can get the verbiage of it up. I do. Tornado watch for portions of Alabama and northwest Georgia, effective this Saturday night and Sunday morning from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. Central. That would be 6 a.m. Eastern for those of you in our Georgia counties. Primary threats include a couple of tornadoes are possible, scattered damaging winds to 70 miles per hour. And so the tornado watch area is approximately along and 55 statute miles north and south of a line from 55 miles southwest of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to 50 miles southeast of Rome, Georgia. So there you are. This watch is in effect until 5 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Eastern, and it covers every one of our counties with the exception of Lee and Harris. So that means that the tornado watch is now valid, and I'm not going to call out every county, so if I don't call out your county, it doesn't mean you're not in it, but in our immediate coverage area, we're talking about Chambers, Tallapoosa, Coosa, well, Elmore County is also in it, Talladega, Clay, Randolph, Heard, Troop, Carroll, Cleburne, Calhoun. Those are our primary coverage areas. Now, down in down in central Alabama, it does include Autauga County and Chilton County, and it does get Dallas County. Looks like Montgomery and Lowndes is not included in the tornado watch at this time. Now, when this line gets a little bit closer, I would expect Lowndes, Montgomery, Bullock, and Lee, and probably Harris to be added to the tornado watch a little later this evening or on into early tomorrow morning. So there you go. Brand new tornado watch for East Alabama and West Georgia. Some of you are saying your radios have not gone off. It took a few minutes for the graphics to get out there, so the Weather Service may be having a little bit of an issue sending out some of this data. Now, my phone just received it, so all of that should happen instantly as soon as it's issued. So they may be having a little data issue out there. Sometimes the servers don't act just right, so give it just a few minutes. It'll probably go off as they get that issue fixed. You see there that their graphic from their National Weather Service site actually has not upgraded either. Let's see here if we can fix some of this. All right, let's do that. Let's get that off. And you see your weather forecast is scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. And as you can see, looking at the radar, there's absolutely nothing across central Alabama or east Alabama or west Georgia. At this time, the closest storm to us that may be capable of going severe is going to be this stuff up here around Ewan, up on extreme northwest Alabama. It stretches back down to just north of Columbus, Mississippi. And that's going to continue moving to the east, northeast, so that particular cell should not be an issue for East Alabama. We got to watch back over here north of Philadelphia, Mississippi. Anything north of I-20 over in Mississippi up to about Columbus, Mississippi would be the area that we need to pay attention to as we go through the late night hours and into the early morning hours. So I'm going to draw that for you. So this is the area we're going to want to pay attention to as we move forward this evening. Anything that develops inside that yellow area would be storms that would potentially move over here into East Alabama. So as you can see right now, there's not much going on over there. Tornado watch, yes. But as far as severe weather is concerned, there's just nothing out there at the moment. We hope that it stays that way, but we're going to watch it for you as we go throughout the remainder of this evening and into tomorrow evening. So let's go see if we have any questions from anybody. If you have any questions, post them up there, and I'll try to answer those for you. I'm just going to spend a few minutes with you giving you this update because we're trying to catch as much rest as we can because at any moment we could go wall-to-wall coverage here. Yes, Troup County is under a tornado watch that was just issued. Yeah, it is still warm in Roanoke. It's still warm up here in the Georgia mountains. I mean, sitting out there on the front porch a few moments ago, it's just eerie feeling. It's a little bit cooler since the sun went down, but it's still too warm for January 1, in any way you want to look at it. And it's awfully windy up here, and I know it's windy all across East Alabama and West Georgia. And that has nothing to do with the thunderstorms. Those are non-thunderstorm winds. We're still caught in a gradient between high pressure and low pressure, and that's what's causing all this wind this evening. Yes, Carroll County, Georgia is under a tornado watch until 6 a.m. That is correct. It is nice. I agree. I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, I would just soon stay with this kind of weather year-round myself. But we all know this is not the kind of weather we're supposed to be having this time of year. I mean, it's just when it's this warm this time of year, you got bad weather on the way. I mean, it's almost a given. Yes, Heflin is included in the tornado watch. Question is, it looks like 4 a.m.-ish. Is that correct? If we're talking about the arrival of the final main line of storms, yes, probably, certainly after midnight. And I think probably after 3 a.m. We'll see. Now, these storms may slow down. There's been some discussion from the Storm Prediction Center that this entire forward progress on this system may actually slow down as it gets into Alabama. And that's what I was basing my earlier timing on, 6, but anywhere between 4 and 6 a.m. But we'll see. I mean, if this thing puts on the brakes over there in West Alabama, it could be a little later than that. There's also a possibility it could speed up. I think it has more of a chance of slowing down because the main energy is racing off to the north and leaving it behind, much like the setup we had on, Wednesday night. That system we had Wednesday night, this is very similar to that as far as timing and speed and when it's coming through and that sort of thing. So we're just, really, we're in live mode. We're just having to watch this thing as it develops and moving our way. Brianna is asking the question about if I'm aware of any tornadoes that have already been produced by this storm. I have not. I know that we had a little bit of tree damage up here in northwest Georgia when that tornado warning was issued in Alabama. As it crossed over the state line, Atlanta replaced it with a severe thunderstorm warning and then almost immediately upgraded it to a tornado warning. And I have seen reports of some trees down, maybe some power lines down up there in northwest Georgia, but I've not received any information that would indicate that we actually had a destructive tornado on the ground. Same thing for Tennessee. Again, I've had one eye on weather today and the other one on the big screen watching football. So I haven't watched a lot of news. But typically, if there's a tornado touchdown with a lot of damage, everybody gets that stuff on their telephone. And I have not seen any information that would indicate that we've had any destructive tornadoes anywhere across Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and certainly not Georgia because the weather's just now getting into Georgia. So to answer your question, no, I'm not aware of any tornadoes that have happened that have caused destruction in any other state with this particular storm system. Yes, I believe the watch does cover Powder Springs as well. It comes all the way over to, let's see. Comes all the way over to Forsyth and Dawson County. Does not include those two counties, but comes all the way over to them. Then it comes on up and then cuts back up to the northeast, all the way over to Towns County. And then back down through Metro or the northwest side of Atlanta. Does not get downtown. And then down to Troup County. Does not include Harris County at this time, but you folks on the eastern side of this, and especially to the southeast, you probably will be added to the watch a little later on. So, I think you've probably got until sunrise before you're added to the watch, but just don't go to bed and think it's all over for you because you were not included in this last tornado watch. They're moving the tornado watch to the east as the line develops and moves to the east as well. So I think there's a decent chance that Metro and all the way down to Columbus will eventually get into the tornado watch area before this is all over with. Dale, if yours did not go off, everybody else says theirs has, then you may not have yours tuned to the right channel. So you might want to check and make sure you're monitoring the correct channel on your weather radio, and make sure you have your alert switch turned on as well. Not sure exactly what kind of weather radio you have. They are all pretty much the same nowadays. We do have different manufacturers out there, but they're all pretty much set up the same. You can go to drdonwx.com, go over to the More menu, click on that, scroll down, you'll see a page for NOAA Weather Radio. Click on that, and then there's all kinds of information there maybe will help you make sure your radio is tuned to the right channel or right frequency, depending on where you are. Questions about Powder Springs and Cobb. Right now, there's nothing in the area. Absolutely nothing. I mean, you got to look way back over there to the Alabama-Mississippi state line before you find anything that's even remotely close to being severe. So the watch is being issued well in advance of any potential severe weather. Right now, you have nothing to worry about. Has something gone from watch to warning? Not to my knowledge. I don't see anything on the graphic, and no discussion in the National Weather Service chat room. As far as I know, we have no warnings anywhere. I mean, really, seriously, looking on up into Tennessee, there's nothing there. No warnings in Alabama. No warnings in Georgia. I'll zoom out just a little bit more. Absolutely no warnings in effect right now for any area that's being touched by this storm system. We have a special weather statement for this line of storms up here just southeast of Huntsville. And we have a special weather statement in extreme southeast Tennessee. But that's it. No warnings in effect right now. Folks asking questions about timing. Again, as I've said all day long, the window is open now. We could have storms pop up at any time. But as far as what's out there right now, this line that's coming in just north of Columbus, Georgia, that's Columbus, Mississippi. That's the leading edge of the main line of storms. And if so, we're looking at well after midnight, probably more toward 3 to 4 a.m. Before this makes it over into East Alabama and West Georgia. Same thing for Roanoke. After 3 a.m., let's just leave it at that. Yes, Woodland is involved in the tornado watch. You're in Randolph County. Randolph County is under a tornado watch until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. If your weather radio didn't go off, then you don't have it programmed properly, or it's not receiving the signal. You don't have your alerts turned on, or you're tuned to the wrong transmitter. Woodland should be you should be tuned to the Mount Cheahaw transmitter. However, there is a transmitter in Troup County that will give you the same warnings. But if your weather radio hasn't gone off and you're anywhere inside that pink flashing area that you see on the screen there, then something is not right, because others who have NOAA weather radios say that theirs have gone off just fine. And I know for a fact the watch has been issued and transmitted on NOAA weather radio. So if it didn't go off, something's not just right with your particular unit. Mother Nature controls whether we have storms or not. It's just that's the weather pattern we've been in this year. Now winter's gonna show up. Trust me, it'll be here Sunday night and Monday. Then we'll start a slow warming trend on Tuesday and Wednesday, and there's some indication another blast of cold air will come flying in here on next Friday. Doesn't look like we're going to have any severe weather with that system, but another piece of very cold Arctic air may make it into the southeastern United States by the time we get to the end of this upcoming week. After 3 a.m. for all of East Alabama, that includes Woodland. Probably fireworks, because there's no thunder, there's no lightning anywhere close to Roanoke, Alabama. Closest lightning strike to Roanoke, Alabama right now is Columbus, Mississippi. And I don't think that's what you're hearing. So it's probably fireworks. Loganville, Georgia, after sunrise, most likely, before the line gets over there. Cornelia, Georgia is about 20 miles to the east of where I'm located. And she's telling you the truth. It does feel weird over here, just like it does in East Alabama and West Georgia, too. Yeah, I live right next door to Clarksville, too. As a matter of fact, Habersham County is one of my counties. You all know I work for the Georgia Emergency Management Agency. I'm a field coordinator, and I have 24 counties of northeast Georgia that I'm responsible for, and Habersham County is one of those. Good folks over there in Habersham County. Well, Chris, the reason the news is not covering is because there's nothing severe. I mean, we've got a tornado watch, and there's just nothing severe going on right now. You've got lots of rain. You must be up there in extreme North Alabama. I'm not sure exactly where you are. The heavy rain's up there around Huntsville. As a matter of fact, northwest Alabama's been removed from the tornado watch. And it looks like Mississippi has been removed from the tornado watch as well. So right now, just basically looks like a west, central, and east Alabama event. West Georgia and then North Georgia also involved in the tornado watch. Well, thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that. I spent the better of 35 years in broadcast radio, so that may have a little bit to do with it. Is there going to be a tornado in Roswell, Georgia? I certainly hope not. There is a chance we could see severe weather in Roswell, Georgia, but it's impossible for anybody to say exactly where a tornado may form or track, but I will tell you that conditions are favorable for the formation of severe thunderstorms that could be capable of producing a tornado. And that holds true for Roswell, Georgia. Used to live in Roswell back in the late 80s. I pass Roswell almost weekly, unfortunately, going down 400 to Atlanta. So I know where you are. Wait a minute, that's Rossville. I'm sorry, I just glanced at it and thought it said Roswell. All right, so where's Rossville, Georgia? That's a new one on me. It's 89 miles from me. Okay, so you're way up there right on the Tennessee state line. You're not far from Chattanooga. You're northwest of Dalton, Georgia. You're right up there on the line. Rossville, just north of Fort Oglethorpe. I know where you are. I just didn't know that I knew where you were. Yeah, man, you could throw a rock and hit the state of Tennessee from up there. So yeah, you're in the area where we have seen the worst of the weather so far. No question about that. You had a tornado warning up there about an hour or so ago. Maybe that may have been just to your west. Not sure Rossville was involved in that particular tornado warning. But you're up there. The further north you go tonight, the better the chances are going to be, really. And you are in a tornado watch. You do have rain up there right now. Good thing is, though, that rain that you've got right now may help stabilize the atmosphere so that when that main line pushes through, maybe it won't be as bad. And you're going to get the main line way before East Alabama and West Georgia. As a matter of fact, it's only about 50 miles to your west now. So another couple of hours, the main cold front and the main line of storms should have already passed through northwest Georgia, and you should be in the clear here in a couple of hours. Question about last Thursday's storm. Right after daylight, the sky turned yellow. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that was most likely, for the most part, it was the sun reflecting off the clouds that were retreating off to the east. After that storm system came through, the sun would have been coming up through the clouds. And as the backside of the cloud coverage moved away, I'm going to say that's what it was. Or it could have been dust particles in the clouds with the reflection of the sun off of it, and that can change the color of clouds as well. Question about Nashville. Oh, never hesitate to ask me to look at an area outside of our main coverage area. I mean, if we had full-blown tornadoes affecting our coverage area right now, I would not be able to do that. But, I mean, we have no threatening weather in East Alabama or West Georgia at the moment, so I'm happy to answer questions about anywhere. So the question is about Nashville. And, hey, look, I have folks in Nashville, too, so I keep an eye on the Nashville area. And Nashville is in the clear. A little rain up there right now, but Nashville is on the backside of all of this. The main line has already moved through Nashville. The main line is really kind of lining up from Knoxville down to Huntsville, Alabama, on down to Columbus, Mississippi. So Nashville is perfectly fine. Nothing at all to worry about up there this evening. She'll be perfectly fine on the 14th floor tonight. Stars are shining in Pennon. How about that? Yeah, we still got broken clouds out there, and will until that line gets a little bit closer to you. Then it should cloud up pretty good. You're more than welcome, Kay, anytime. Happy to help. Nothing going on in Clarksville right now. Question about Clarksville. I'm assuming we're talking Clarksville, Georgia. Nothing at all. I mean, the line of storms is still way back over in West Alabama. So up there, there's some showers up there northwest Georgia, but they have really lost their intensity in the last couple of hours. You got to go way back over to around Huntsville, Alabama to find anything that is even close to being strong at the moment. We're going to watch together to see if that changes over time, but right now, nothing to worry about anywhere, really, except for up in northeast Alabama, stretching back down to Columbus, Georgia. That's where the potential is at the moment. It will be moving east as we go throughout the remainder of the night, but right now we're good. All right, so there's one that says my radio went off Wednesday, but it didn't go off tonight. All right, so here's one thing you can do. Hit the little bar on the top of the radio and see if you can hear the weather forecast. That will confirm that you are receiving the transmission. If you hit that little bar and all you hear is static, then for some reason you're either not on the right channel or that transmitter's off the air. But if you hit that little bar and you hear the forecast and it's good and clear, then go back and check your programming and make sure that something hasn't changed in your programming. Make sure you have fresh batteries in it also. If you don't have fresh batteries in it and you have a power flicker or you lose power to your radio and you don't have batteries in it, you could lose your programming. And that you could have had a power flicker between now and then. If you don't have fresh batteries in there, that's most likely what has happened. Statesboro, you're way down there in South Georgia. You may have some rain tomorrow, but it will be tomorrow afternoon. And the last time I looked at the sounding for South Georgia, it doesn't look like you're going to see anything severe down there. You could have a few strong storms, but I think it's going to be more of a rain event for South Georgia. Not a whole lot of instability down there. Arab, you're pretty much in the same situation as the rest of East Alabama. The line's still off to your north and west. Be in there in a couple of 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4. Just depends on how fast it moves across Alabama. Right now, it's not moving very fast. Stephen, right now, I mean, if it stays like it is right now, I don't think it will impact flights out of Atlanta. I mean, they're not going to take off in the middle of a severe thunderstorm, obviously, but they can handle rain and wind and that sort of thing. So unless we get an increase in coverage and intensity, I wouldn't expect this to affect air travel in Atlanta when it moves through. Well, so I have a question about what type of app do I recommend? Well, I'm going to be biased and recommend Dr. Don's Weather. If you live in East Alabama or West Georgia, understand our app is specifically for our coverage area of East Alabama and West Georgia. It's not designed for any other areas around the country. So if you travel, if you move around, you go outside of East Alabama or West Georgia, then I suggest you do 2 things. Go to the App Store and download Dr. Don's Weather. You can go to our website. There's a button there. It's drdonwx.com. That gets you all the push notifications. It tells you when we go live for severe weather. You can watch us on that app. We do have weather alerts on that app for our home counties of East Alabama and West Georgia. And then also, if you're going to be traveling around, you get outside of that area, you need an app that follows you. And any of the weather apps will do that. Most of the television stations have those apps. You can set them up so that they will follow you wherever you go, and they'll give you the watches and warnings for regardless of where you are. So just, if you have an app, an Apple phone, go to the store and just search severe weather alerts, and you can do the same thing on an Android phone, severe weather alerts. And the first 2 or 3 that pop up generally are the most popular, and they'll all do the same thing. But don't forget to download the Dr. Don Weather app, because that way you know when we go live for severe weather. The problem with depending on social media to notify you when we're live, their algorithms, and y'all know this because you see things that, 4 days from now, you'll get notification on things that happened 4 days ago. It's just they're not conducive for severe weather coverage on social media. Now, YouTube is much better than Facebook or Twitter. So if you have a YouTube account, I do encourage you to go over to YouTube and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube. You'll get the push notification there. And then you'll also, if you will download our weather app from the Play Store, you'll be able to get that push notification there as well. Plus, I do a lot of blogging, especially during times of severe weather, and we do the blogging over there on the weather app. which gives you more information to keep you better informed. Okay, Kay. All right, good deal. So nice to have you watching us over there in South Carolina. I'm not far from the South Carolina line as the crow flies. I'm about 40 minutes southwest of Clemson, South Carolina. Not very far at all. No, this is actually pretty common, Leslie. Normally, the cold fronts move from northwest to southeast, and then you have individual storm cells that will move along that line to the northeast. And I'll put the radar back in motion where you can get a better sense of the direction of these storms, and you can see the individual storms racing off to the northeast. Yet, if you watch the overall picture, the grand scheme of things, everything is sinking to the southeast. And that's pretty typical for an advancing cold front across the southeastern United States. And really doesn't add or subtract from the severity of the storms. What you want to look for are several different factors. The thing that made the Mayfield tornado situation so bad up in Kentucky and Tennessee several weeks ago was we had some intense winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere and the jet stream level. And we had winds up there running at about 145 miles per hour, which caused a tremendous amount of shear. So when those thunderstorms grew to about 40,000 feet, they got up into that jet stream layer with that 145 mile per hour wind, and that caused those thunderstorms to go into massive spinning, and that's what caused those storms to grow so big and be so destructive. But veering of the wind is generally what causes the level of damage from tornadoes. It helps to get those tops to spinning, if you will, and that's one of the things that you always look for in the upper levels of the atmosphere is the direction of the wind. If you got wind coming from two different directions in the upper levels of the atmosphere, that's what makes those things start spinning. Randolph, you should be on your toes anytime after midnight. I think probably better chances toward 2 or 3 a.m. And continuing on to sunrise. But anytime after midnight, you should be alert in Randolph County. And that's pretty much true for all of East Alabama and West Georgia. Auburn is not included in the latest tornado watch. They may very well be included later on this morning if things continue to develop. But right now, Lee County, Alabama, is not included in the tornado watch. Patrick, it's kind of different. Most tornado siren systems are operated by your local emergency management agency /or 911. Now, it's different in different areas. But typically speaking, the trigger for a tornado to activate the sirens is typically in the 911 centers because there's someone in there 24/7, 365. And criteria for activation of the outdoor warning siren system is also different in different jurisdictions based on what that particular county wants to activate the sirens for. In other words, some counties actually blow the sirens when there's a severe thunderstorm warning issued. Some don't. Some wait until a tornado warning is issued. Some have a policy that says that they can activate the sirens even if a warning is not issued, but a trained spotter is reporting a wall cloud, funnel cloud, or tornado on the ground. So the criteria is different in every jurisdiction. I would suggest that you contact your local emergency management agency and pose that question to them, because it's not a broad blanket set of rules that everybody plays by the same rule. Probably should, but that's not the way it is. And there are systems out there that can activate on the polygons that you see the National Weather Service issue when they issue a warning, which keeps the entire county from being activated, which is very smart. I mean, in other words, you get a tornado on the ground in Lineville, Alabama, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. There's no need in activating the sirens in southern Clay County because they're not going to be affected. So there are systems out there that can read that polygon and only activate those sirens inside that polygon, which is the path that could be affected by the tornado. A lot of jurisdictions, especially in rural Alabama and rural Georgia, do not have that type of setup because it's very expensive. I'm just going to be blunt with you. I mean, that you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars setting up that type of a system. So most areas don't have that, but that technology is out there. The problem we have, and I think is as an emergency manager, and as a public safety official, I think we can all share the blame in this. We have not done a good job at all, in my opinion, and I'll blame the media with part of this responsibility also. We've all not done a very good job in educating the public on the purpose of outdoor warning sirens. I mean, one would think it's called an outdoor warning siren system, so that pretty much speaks for itself. But we have a whole generation, several generations, that have grown up because sirens became popular back in the mid-'90s, and we've had them ever since. But we just haven't done a good job in educating folks on what their purpose is. It is not to warn you indoors, and there's actually been lives lost in this country because people didn't hear a siren, so they went on about their business, and then a tornado hit them. They're not designed for indoor warning. Never were, and never will be, because if the sirens were loud enough for you to hear them indoors, they would burst your eardrums outdoors. And of course, the EPA is not going to allow that to happen. So never, ever, ever rely on an outdoor warning siren to warn you to take cover during a tornado outbreak. The outdoor sirens are designed to warn you when you're walking out of the grocery store going to your car. They're to warn you when you're at the Little League field watching Little League baseball. They're to warn the teachers out there on the playground when the kids are out there playing on the playground during school hours. They're to warn you in the parking lot of the hospital. You see where I'm going? That's what outdoor warning sirens were designed to do. And I know some of you are saying, well, I've got one right across the street from me. It rattles me out of the bed. That's great, but you're part of the few that have them that close to you. Most folks will not hear a siren indoors at 2 a.m. in the morning with a thunderstorm blowing up outside. You just won't be loud enough to wake you up. So just because you may have a tornado in your a tornado siren in your neighborhood, that's a great and wonderful thing. But don't rely on it. Have other options to receive severe weather information. You can go to bed, Miss Kay, but make sure you have some type of way of waking you up in the event things change. Yeah, that's another good idea. If you know someone who works during the overnight hours that's going to be up, that pays attention to the weather, text them or call them and ask them to call you and wake you up if something were to go on. You all know, y'all got friends that hang with the doctor all night long. There's going to be folks that's going to sit up with me all night long tonight. I know that. And y'all know who they are, too. Call them. Send them a text message. They'll be more than happy to call you and wake you up if something happens. I mean, that's not the best option. The best option is to have a NOAA weather radio and to have at least a couple of apps on your phone. Understand, too, folks, your phones come pre-programmed with WIA alerts. And unless you have purposely gone in there and turned them off, you're going to get notified if there's a tornado warning. It's not going to warn you for a tornado watch. It's not going to warn you for a severe thunderstorm. But if a tornado warning is issued for the county that you're in, your WIA alert, which your phone comes with that already on there, it will wake you up. That's the same way you get the child abduction notifications that come in over your phone. Same thing. And you're going to get a tornado warning unless you've turned them off. And if you have, then obviously you know how to get to that part of the phone, and you should go back in there and turn them back on so that you'll be sure and get those tornado warnings if they're issued. It's the same thing as an Amber Alert. It comes to you the same way. Christopher, thank you. I appreciate those kind words. I did. For 35 years, I was in broadcast radio. Spent 22 of those years in Roanoke, Alabama on the radio. So that's why I cater to East Alabama and West Georgia. Those folks down there know me. They followed me for years on the radio down there. And I moved away about 12 years ago, and then modern technology got good enough to allow us to be able to do this over the internet. So that's why I'm here doing it, and that's why I pay attention to East Alabama and West Georgia, though I live in North Georgia now and work for the Georgia Emergency Management Agency. But I appreciate your kind words, Christopher. Well, this one says, "Hey, Daddy, love you so much." So I'm assuming that is daughter Samantha, even though it's just showing me that she's a Facebook user, so apparently she didn't sign in. If you have an option to put your name, I don't know exactly how all that works. I'm still working on that piece. Put your name in there so I'll know who you are. But one of the young ones is here, and the other two or three ain't going to say, "Hey, Daddy." They're going to say, "Hey, Don." So I'm pretty sure that's Samantha. Atlanta Metro, probably towards sunrise or shortly after before the line gets in there. So I think you're fine for most of the night. Oh, Mr. Chicken, you had to throw that S word out there, didn't you? Well, I'll address the possibilities. No snow tonight or into tomorrow. We're going to have scattered showers, wraparound moisture tomorrow throughout most of the day. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to make it up to the mid-60s maybe by noon tomorrow. Then tomorrow afternoon, the wind's going to howl out of the northwest, and we're going to start to see the temperature crash. And then as we get into the overnight hours, big if here, if there's enough moisture left in the atmosphere, then we could see a mixture of, or maybe even a brief change over to all snow across North Alabama. And that could migrate as far south as East Alabama and West Georgia. Again, understand, though, the ground is going to be well above freezing. So any winter precipitation that might come in on the very back edge of all of this stuff by tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night is not going to stick. It is not going to cause an issue. And the highest projected snowfall totals I have seen, the absolute highest, only about a ½ inch, and that's way up in the North Georgia mountains. And I'm not talking about the normal North Georgia mountains. I'm talking about up where no one lives, up at the highest elevations, Brass Town. We're talking on top of Blood Mountain. We're talking Unicoi Gap, maybe. You folks are top of Richard Russell. You folks who are up here in Northeast Georgia know where I'm talking about. I'm talking above 2,500 feet. Down in Cleveland, down in Helen, probably not that much. Blairsville, maybe. Blue Ridge, maybe. But it's not going to accumulate. And even down into East Alabama and West Georgia, we could see some flurries. That's about all we're talking about here. This is not a snow producer. This is not the type of setup we have to have a decent snow in Alabama and Georgia. That's not going to happen. But yes, we could see a snowflake or two flying in the air, probably toward daybreak on Monday morning. We normally hit our coldest temperatures between 4 and 6 a.m., so that's when I would expect that to happen, if it happens at all. Polk County, Georgia, you're pretty much in the same situation as East Alabama and West Georgia. I mean, you're just north of I-20 there, so you see that stuff back over there in West Alabama, but south of Haleyville, just north of Tuscaloosa. That's the heaviest of the weather anywhere right now, and it does appear to be intensifying as it moves east. That would most likely move through Polk County. It would be much later on, though, well after midnight, probably more in the 4 to 5 a.m. time frame. And again, folks, this whole system could slow down. There's some indication that it will. Or it may not. We're in live mode now. We're just watching this as it develops. Yes, Gwinnett County, you should be weather aware tonight. You can sleep, but make sure you got a good app on your phone that'll wake you up. Happy New Year. Thank you. Yeah, the Apple app is $5.99, and I had very little to do with that. Apple is very proud of their product, and to get into their store, it costs money. But the app is $5.99, but that's a one-time purchase. You never have to pay for it again. It's one-time $5.99. That's on the Apple side. The Android side is $2.99, $2.99. One-time deal. Dr. Don's weather app. You can go to drdonwx.com. That's our website. And at the top of the website there are two buttons depending on what type of phone you have. And you can download it there or just go to your app store and search Dr. Don Weather. It should pop up. Lee County doesn't have a tornado threat yet. I think, though, as the morning goes along, as we get toward daybreak, there's a decent chance that the tornado watch will be expanded. And any expansion to the east or south at all would include Lee County. Frederick, Maryland. Nice to have y'all in here. Ella J's asking the question, should they set an alarm or not worry much about it? Well, that's That's a hard question to answer. Depends on what type of structure you live in. If you live in a brick and mortar, well-built home, and you don't have a bunch of trees around you, then I'd probably go on to bed. But if you're in a cabin perched up on the side of a mountain with a bunch of trees around you, like I am, then I would be much more weather aware than that guy living in the brick home down at the bottom of the mountain that has no trees in his front yard. That's the way you kind of got to look at this thing. I mean, we don't have a bunch of tornadoes out there tonight. That just hasn't materialized. But we do have a line of strong thunderstorms moving across Alabama that will eventually move across Georgia as well, and that will include LJ. So there's going to be some severe weather come through, or there is a potential that there will be some severe weather come through your area and on all of East Alabama and West Georgia and North Georgia as we get past midnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So you're going to kind of have to, everybody kind of has to judge themselves, their own particular situation as to how you need to deal with this. Course of least regret is to have a good way of receiving severe weather information that will wake you up in the middle of the night. The best option I can come up with is a NOAA weather radio. Also, download 2, not just 1, but 2 weather apps on your phone. And you folks up there in North Georgia and Northeast Georgia, my weather app's not going to do you any good, other than to alert you when we go live for severe weather. And you can still see weather on there. I mean, I've got the radar and all that on there. But you're not going to get weather alerts for the counties there in North Georgia. That's specifically for East Alabama and West Georgia. So depending on where you are, make sure you have 2 good weather apps on your phone. And again, like I said, you've got the WIA alerts on there that comes built in on your phone anyway. So if a tornado warning is issued, it's going to wake you up. Just make sure your notifications are turned up. Valley and Lynette, same as East Alabama. I mean, we're talking anytime after 3 a.m., probably 4, 5, and then we could have storms kind of hanging around till around 6. So after midnight, probably more toward 3 or 4 a.m. For Lynette and Valley. Madison, Georgia, is one of my 24 counties. Beauregard, Alabama. Butler County, down there in southwest Alabama. You're going to get some storms. I mean, I don't see anything significant over in Mississippi coming your way, and you're not under a tornado watch. But you're probably going to hear a rumble of thunder or 2 down there. Yes, Randolph County needs to remain weather aware through the remainder of the night. Yes, Roanoke and Noonan will be affected. I could not begin to tell you if a tornado is going to hit Dallas, Georgia. I have no idea. I can tell you that the weather conditions are conducive for the formation of severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes. If my crystal ball could tell for sure whether or not a tornado was going to hit Dallas, I would be a very, very rich individual. I mean, nobody can tell you that. I mean, it's just not possible. But I can tell you that the conditions are conducive for the formation of severe weather. Yeah, so we're working on that. We're working on the merchandise. As a matter of fact, we're putting together a commemorative March 25th tornado shirt that's going to have the tornado warning from the National Weather Service on the back of it, and we're going to have that out real soon. You can already go and get a Dr. Don Weather shirt. That link is on the website, but we're working on a commemorative shirt. It's going to be pretty cool, and we'll have more information about that real soon. Jennifer's asking the question, how serious are these storms that are coming? Well, right now they're not. We have no warnings in the state of Alabama. Absolutely none. Nothing up in Georgia either. We have a tornado watch that's in effect until 5 o'clock in the morning, but no severe weather out there right now. We're watching to see if that's going to change, and there's a decent chance that it will. Hopefully it will not. Yeah, if you're not covered under a tornado watch, I'd go to bed. But still have an app on your phone in case that changes during the night. If you're ahead of the storm, if you're to the east of the line of storms and you're not under a tornado watch, there's a chance that could change during the night. And if you're west of that line of storms and you're not under a tornado watch, you're good. You're out of trouble. Yeah, there's nothing going on in Gwinnett County right now. You're just south of me. Trust me. If it gets ugly in Gwinnett, I'll tell you about it. The tornado watch stops at the White County, Towns County line right now. So White County is not included in the tornado watch. We'll see if they extend it further to the south and east as that line moves out of Alabama into Georgia. It is possible. I have no idea if Roanoke will be tornado or thunderstorms. We have weather conditions are conducive for the formation of severe thunderstorms that could possibly produce tornadoes. So I don't know. We've got a line of thunderstorms coming our way. It's not severe at the moment. It may develop into a line of severe thunderstorms before it gets into East Alabama. Just don't know. It's possible. Question about how high the winds may possibly be in metro Atlanta. It all depends. It just all depends on how strong the storms are when they come through Atlanta. If you have a tornado, you could be 250 miles per hour. If it's just a line of thunderstorms, a marginal line of thunderstorms that are not severe, then maybe just a wind gust of 10 to 15. So that's another one of those questions that is impossible to answer. All right, folks, so I came in about an hour ago to give you an update, and then we got that tornado watch, so I wanted to give that to you. And again, we're watching things as they develop off to our north and west. Good news is we have not seen a severe weather outbreak like we feared would happen yet. We cannot let our guard down because with the atmosphere across Alabama and Georgia is pretty unstable. We had a lot of sunshine today. Temperatures got up to in the lower 80s in some locations, and the main line that contains most of the energy is just now getting into West Alabama. So at least the Storm Prediction Center thinks there's a chance we're going to have severe weather because they've extended the tornado watch further to the east to cover all of East Alabama and West Georgia. So we're going to remain weather aware throughout the remainder of the night. And if conditions warrant, and we feel like that there's a reason to go live, then we will come back. I will tell you that I will be back with you around 1 a.m. Central to give you an update regardless. So if some of you want to grab a couple of hours sleep and set your alarm and wake up around 1 o'clock to see what's going on, that's fine. We'll do that. So I'll be back with you around 1 a.m. to give you an update sooner than 1 a.m. if there is a need to. We'll be right here with coverage for you on Dr. Don's weather. Don't forget to support us if you can. Go to drdonwx.com. I'll give you the link right quick. You can click on that link and go over to our website. You can donate to us at the upper right-hand corner of our page. We'll also have the buttons there for you to download the Dr. Don weather app if you hadn't already done so. And stay weather aware. I'll be back with you in a couple of hours with an update or sooner if conditions warrant on Dr. Don's weather.